Hi guys. I know the lesson was a little confusing. Okay, it's your first time doing it. So this were your homework problems. So I decided to help you with a few of your homework problems by doing the evens and then doing the odds. So you can see how I'm doing that and maybe that'll help you with yours. So I'm looking at, again, this is your homework. I'm looking at the even problem. So let's look at number 2. Number 2 says if cosine of x equals 2 over 3, find secant of x. Okay, so something like this I expect you guys to know at this point because we do know, and I have a copy of all the identities, and you should keep that paper with you as you're doing this, the reciprocal identity. So if we know cosine, automatically we know secant. It's 3 over 2. So something like that should be easy for you. Looking at number 4, it's the same situation. Sine, I think that's beta, that symbol, equals negative 5 over 6. And it says find cosecant. Well, they are reciprocal functions, so this is just going to be negative 6 over 5. Okay, and then they do have number 6, which is if the secant of whatever that symbol is equals 2, and the tangent of that symbol is, I forget what that symbol is, sorry, radical 3, find the sine of that symbol. Okay, so here we're going to have to do a little more work. All right, so we know the secant. What does the secant tell us? It doesn't tell us the sine, but it does tell us the cosine. So from this, I could figure out that the cosine is 1/2. Okay, how does that help? Well, I know based on the quotient identities that tangent is equal to sine over cosine. So look what I have. I have the tangent, I have the cosine, I could figure out the sine. So let me substitute in the values that I have. I know tangent is radical 3 equals, I still don't know sine, but I now know cosine is 1/2. Okay, if you guys are having trouble with the math here, this is just mathing. Okay, this is just solving a proportion. Think of this technically as over 1. Cross products. So it's going to be sine of that weird symbol is equal to 1/2 times radical 3. So the sine is radical 3 over 2. And that's the answer for number 6. Okay, looking at 8 seems to be the same type of situation. Number 8 says secant, oh, they went back to theta, thank goodness, is 8. Tangent of theta is 3 over 7, and they want you to find cosecant. Okay, so we're going to have to do a lot of flipping here. So I have the tangent. I know I can use this. Tangent is equal to sine over cosine. This isn't the cosine, but I could flip it, okay, and get the sine. So if the secant is 8, right, they gave me secant again, so that means the cosine is the same situation. The cosine is 1 over 8. So now I know that tangent is equal to sine over cosine. So tangent is 3 radical 7 is equal to sine, which we still don't know, over cosine. Oh, I didn't mean to write cosine, I mean to put 1/8. Okay, doing what we did before with cross products, this times this, I'm going to get the sine of theta is 3 radical 7 over 8. So cosecant, I am going to have to flip it. Okay, so when I flip that, I'm going to flip it here, I get 8 over 3 radical 7. Of course, I won't leave it like that. I'm not a savage. I don't leave radicals in my denominator. Be careful here, guys. The numerator is pretty easy. It's 8 radical 7. Know your math here. Radical 7 times radical 7 is 7. 7 times 3 is 21. So the cosecant is 8 radical 7 over 21. Okay, Let's look at question number 10. 10 says cotangent. Oh, find the value of each expression. Okay, so they want me to find the cotangent. They want me to find the secant. And what are they giving me? They're giving me sine is 1/3. And what else did they give me? I'm sorry, I'm losing my place. Tangent is less than 0. Tangent of theta is less than 0. Okay, so first of all, this information is all they're giving me. With the identities that we did before, okay, we kind of needed a little, a little more. We needed 2 to get like something else because we had to substitute in 2 things. Here they only gave me 1. And secant's not the flip of sine, so that's not going to help me. First of all, where do I live? If they're telling me tangent is less than 0, that means tangent's negative. Another stupid trig class. If tangent is negative, I'm not here, I'm not here. Sine is positive. Of the 2 remaining quadrants I could live in, this is the only one where sine is positive. So that means I'm in quadrant 2, which means this answer, when I find a cotangent, is going to be negative. And secant, since it's the flip of cosine, is also going to be negative. So always keep that in the back of your mind. Now, given me just one piece of information, I am going to have to use my Pythagorean identities, because if you look at my Pythagorean identities, all right, I could substitute in one value because there's also a number in there and then solve for the third. Okay, so I'm probably going to use this one because I know what sine is. Okay, so those identities are important, guys. You have to remember that. So I know that the cosine squared of theta is equal to 1 minus sine squared theta. Cosine squared theta is equal to 1 minus, my sine is 1/3 squared. Cosine theta equals 1 minus, when I square that I get 1/9. I'm going to change that, I'm sorry, it's cosine squared. Cosine squared theta equals, I'm going to make this 9/9 minus 1/9. So I get cosine squared theta equals 8/9. I'm going to square root both sides. So I get cosine theta is equal to, well, 8 is not a perfect square, so I'm going to leave it as radical 8. Even though I could simplify it, I'm just going to leave it right now. Over 9 is a perfect square, so it's 3. Now, when we do this, it's plus or minus. I know I'm in quadrant 2, so I know this answer has to be negative. Okay? So since this is negative, radical 8/3, or if you want to simplify it now, guys, radical 8 is negative 2 radical 2, right? Because this is 4 times 2, square root of 4 is 2. So that's the cosine. So right off the bat, I have the secant. Unfortunately, now when I go to write the secant, though, I'm going to have to re-rationalize it. 3/2 radical 2. Multiply both the numerator and the denominator by radical 2. So I get negative 3 radical 2 over 2 times 2 is 2 times 2 is 4. So now I found the answer for the secant. The secant is negative 3 radical 2 over 4. Okay, so now I have the cosine, right? Let's go back to that. I have the sine. I want the cotangent. If you remember from the reciprocal, cotangent is cosine over sine. Well, that makes this easier. I'll put cosine. So negative 2 radical 2 over 3 over sine is 1/3. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point in your mathematical career, you know this divided by this is the same as this multiplied by the reciprocal, so the 3's would cancel out. So when your denominators are the same, it cancels out, and you're just left with negative 2 radical 2 over 1, or just this. Okay, so that was question number 10. Let's look at number 12. So number 12 tells me to find the sine of theta and to find the cotangent of theta. And what does it give me? It gives me that the cosine of theta is 2 over 5 and the sine of theta is less than 0. Okay, so let's figure out first where I live so I know what the signs, S-I-G-N, is going to be. Another stupid trick class. Sine is positive, so I'm not here and I'm not here because cosine's positive. And then sine is negative. So I'm living in quadrant 4. So I know sine's going to be negative and cotangent's going to be negative. They only give me one value, so I'm going to go to my Pythagorean identities, okay? And I'm going to use this value because I'm given the cosine. So it says that sine squared theta equals 1 minus cosine squared theta. Sine squared theta equals 1 minus 2/5 squared. Sine squared theta equals 1 minus 4 over 25. I'm going to change that 1 to 25 over 25 so I could subtract it. So I have sine squared theta equals 21 over 25. I will square root both sides. So I'm going to get sine theta equals, now it's plus or minus, but I know I'm in quadrant 4, so sine is going to be negative. Radical 21 over, square root of 25 is 5. So I found this one, 21 over 5. Now I have to find cotangent, but I have the sine and I have the cosine, so cotangent's going to be easy. Remember, cotangent is cosine over sine. So cotangent is equal to 2/5 over negative radical 21 over 5. Again, look, I have the same denominators. So the cotangent is 2 over negative radical 21, which of course, not a savage. I won't leave that in the denominator. So I'm going to get 2 radical 21 over 21. And I know it's negative. I already put my negative there. 2 radical 21 over 21. So that is 12. I'm trying to see if any of these are going to be radically different that I need to do another one. They're basically all the same. I will do one more in this area to help you, but I think you could see the point now of what we're doing. Let's do number 16. Okay, 16 wants me to find the tangent of theta, and it wants me to find the cosecant of theta. And what information do they give me? They tell me cosine of theta equals negative 1/4, and they tell me the sine of theta is less than 0. Oh, everything's less than 0. Okay, that was a good movie, by the way, from the 80s. Another stupid trig class. Cosine's negative, so I'm not here and I'm not here. Of the two remaining, where is sine negative? In 3. So tangent's positive, so this is going to be a positive answer, but cosecant is going to be negative. Okay, again, they only gave me cosine, so I'm going to use sine squared theta is equal to 1 minus cosine squared theta. I don't know sine squared theta equals 1 minus negative 1/4 squared. 1 minus, when I square this, I get 1 over 16. I'm going to change this to 16 over 16 minus 1 over 16, giving me sine squared theta to be 15 over 16. Square root both sides. I'm in quadrant 3, so my answer is going to be negative, so the sine of theta is going to be negative radical 15 over 4, because I could find that. Cosecant is the flip of that, but when I flip it, I have that radical in my denominator, so I'm going to rationalize it. I'm not a savage. So I get negative 4 radical 15 over 15. So there's my answer there. Now they want me to find tangent. I have sine, I have cosine. Tangent is always sine over cosine. So tangent is equal to, sine is negative radical 15 over 4, all over cosine, which is negative 1 over 4. Now look what happens. Negative divided negative is a positive, which makes sense. I'm in quadrant 3. That's supposed to happen. My denominators cancel out on both, and so I'm just left with radical 15. Okay. I think I could pause this video and then keep adding on, or maybe I'll just stop this video here and I'll do this simplifying the expressions, the other numbers, in another video. Let me see, how long has this been going on? Yeah, this has been going on for 16 minutes. So I'm going to stop this video here and then I'm going to make another video, the remaining homework problems.